Tonight on NXT, Heavy Machinery versus the Mighty, Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler, Mustache Mountain versus a pair of jobbers. The top 1% faces down the finest in EC3 versus Kona Reeves. And Tommaso Ciampa reigns as champion. But for how long? Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Alright. Heavy Machinery begins by taking on the Mighty. Start off fired up. The match begins with Heavy Machinery and the Mighty going at it before Thorne gets a missile drop kick in on Otis. Otis was in the match for the first few minutes of the match, but after a tag in from Tucker Knight, Knight takes out both members of the Mighty very easily, at one point dropping the both of them. Don't know what that motion was. Knight nearly runs into the corner after slamming, I think it was Thorne into the corner. And he escapes, he rolls out, and so Knight, instead of running into the corner like every wrestler ever has ever done, he decides to jump over the top rope and then flip onto the Mighty, which was impressive. After getting back into the ring, the Street Profits appear in the crowd to distract the Mighty, and this distraction affords Heavy Machinery the win. So that's how that ended. We had Mustache Mountain versus Jobber Force Go. I have no idea what their names were. I can't remember for the life of me. This was a squash match. It was an impressive showing from Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, but really that was about it. We had EC3 versus Kona Reeves. And although Kona started off with a fine set of holds and grapples, EC3 immediately takes control by pure strength and skill alone. Kona begins using heel tactics, realizing the strength isn't going to work, so he hits EC3 in the throat, allowing Reeves to put up a little bit of a fight. He attempts to get EC3 in the Cobra Clutch, but EC3 literally powers out of that, then gets EC3 back into the Cobra Clutch. Once EC3 breaks free, he starts hitting Kona Reeves up and down the ring, hitting him with a somersault neckbreaker. And as soon as he stands up from hitting that, Velveteen Dream's theme hits. And he starts talking to EC3, saying, "If you want to face me, you have to come talk to me. You have to join the experience. But first," and then he snaps his fingers, and everything goes back without the Velveteen Dream backdrop, because guess what, EC3? You're still in a match. But unlike every single wrestler ever, you realize what's going on. Kona Reeves attempts to take you down. He couldn't get you down for the pin. You counted out at 2. And then afterwards, EC3 takes down Kona Reeves for the 1, 2, 3. I did like one moment where he's going through and wailing on Kona Reeves and says, "1 more %!" And hits him again. Yeah, EC3 is really over with the crowd. I think people are turning him face when he's obviously supposed to be a heel. But hey, whatever floats your fancy. Fancy floats. After a bit of a quick break, we got a backstage interview with EC3 where he talks about he's willing to do whatever it takes pretty much to take down Velveteen Dream. If he wants to talk, if he wants to go through the experience, if he wants to drink the Kool-Aid, if he wants to take the purple pill, he'll do whatever it takes. But he's going to be taking on Velveteen Dream. And then afterwards we get to our main event, and that is Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler. Sorry. Was I just mentioning Shayna Baszler? Oh, God, I gotta stop that. Shayna begins by taunting Candice LeRae by gesturing, hey, you can feel free to leave, the exit's that way, and she even goes over and she sits down on the middle rope and, leaves a little bit of room for Candice to head out. Candice LeRae responds by drop-kicking Shayna Baszler out to the outside of the ring. Shayna attempts to get back inside, only to be met with a baseball slide. Candice takes control of the match for the next few minutes until Shayna manages to pull Candice LeRae down from the top rope. Baszler slams her into the steel steps. Candice was slow to rise, only really being able to get back in the ring at the 9. But yeah, after this, Shayna begins working that left arm that impacted the steel steps. Pretty much weakening and working her down. Shayna gets her in submission hold after submission hold, and after about 5 minutes, Candice manages to slam Shayna into the corner. Interestingly enough, into the arm. So she went arm first into the corner. And then kicks her in the face, which was nice. LeRae jumps from the middle of the rope to try and take Shayna, goes for the pin. Baszler kicks out. Baszler attempts to roll out, only to be brought back in by Candice and brought down again and again. Baszler manages to counter another top rope assault by transitioning into the Coquina Clutch, but LeRae manages to break free because she was just close enough to the ropes to be able to get out of there. LeRae attempts to finally bring Shayna out, just to again get caught in the Coquina Clutch. This time, she isn't so lucky. She taps out after a few moments. After the match was over, of course, Shayna Baszler has to, establish dominance and decides to get her back in the Coquina Clutch. And the ref did something unusual. She actually got other refs involved to break up the two of them, not just shout them down. Because, logic. Interestingly, the only female ref is the most logical one. But anyway, Shayna Baszler gets her into the Coquina Clutch. They manage to break the two apart. And as Shayna is kind of lording over the fact that she just beat Candice LeRae, Kairi Sane charges down to the ring in a fashion most adorable, because I can't take Kairi as intimidating. She's just too adorable. She could totally kick my ass, I'm sure of that, though. But anyway, she goes to attack Shayna Baszler to save Candice LeRae, only to be stopped by the refs. Shayna makes her escape and calls it good. And then, right after that happened, we had another backstage segment, this time with Mustache Mountain, and they're walking around outside, and they're getting interviewed about, taking on Undisputed Era, about invoking their rematch clause. And they go, "Do you have any tricks up your sleeve?" That's the problem with you. You think we need tricks. And we're big, strong boys. We don't need tricks. After talking about it for a moment, War Machine steps up or War Raiders. Sorry. Anyway, War Raiders talks to them and says, "It doesn't matter who walks out of TakeOver, I think it's TakeOver? I can't remember. TakeOver. Doesn't matter who walks out of TakeOver. We're going for those titles." Tyler Bate was getting ready to fight, and Trent Seven kind of just backs him up and says, "Let's handle our part first." Being the veteran to the rookie. After that, we got announcement from William Regal that EC3 versus Velveteen Dream and Ricochet versus Adam Cole will be happening at TakeOver. And Keith Lee will be making his debut next week. So that'll be interesting. And then we end the show with Ciampa coming out to address his loving crowd. They're not loving, but his belt apparently loves him because he was talking to that, saying, yes, you think so too. We do deserve you. We make such a lovely couple. He is just supreme in his heel deliveries. Just the best. And he proceeds to lord over the fact that he won the championship, and the crowd began chanting, "Shut the hell up!" Then after berating everybody, he calls himself the greatest sports entertainer and the best heel move ever, when Black's theme hits. As Aleister Black is walking down the ramp, Gargano charges right by him and starts attacking Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa manages to break out and make his escape through the crowd, when Gargano gets on the mic and says, "The only reason you have that championship is because of me!" And he keeps repeating that over and over again with Aleister Black in the room. So he turns and he looks at Aleister Black, and Aleister Black kicks him right in the jaw and knocks him the fuck out. Aleister Black then sits down next to Johnny Gargano and says, "You know what? You're right. The only reason he's champion is because of you." And then he walks out of the ring, leaving Gargano to end the show holding his jaw. Because goddamn, that was jawsome. But yeah, that was NXT. That was a fantastic episode. I'm gonna grade it an A because I can't think of any major flaws with it. But yeah, the poll will be up here. Let me know what you think of the grade. And then we'll go from there. Join me next week. I'll be here reviewing yet again, because I always do. I review. This has been Real Honesty without John Ritland. I am not John Ritland. I am the Durbinator. And you have a great night.